1 week after the guilty verdict in his criminal trial, former President Donald Trump rallied Republican voters in Phoenix today.
And we had News 4 Tucson's political specialist Eric Fink was there and has all the highlights.
It was former President Trump's first campaign event since the felony convictions a week ago. He was defiant, calling out President Joe Biden. And in an interview with me, a GOP voter here in our swing state who's backing Biden says it's time for her party to move past Donald Trump.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee.
Former President Donald Trump back on the campaign trail in battleground Arizona for the first time in more than a year and a half. Roughly 3 hours from the border, Trump took President Joe Biden's executive order that limits asylum requests of those crossing the border illegally head on.
He's conceding defeat at the border. On day one of my administration, I will be rescinding Crooked Joe's outrageous executive order.
After his conviction on 34 felony counts last week, the former president claims he's innocent.
I just went through a rigged trial in New York with a highly conflicted, and I mean highly conflicted, judge, where there was no crime. It was made up, fabricated stuff.
But Arizona voter Rebecca Gao doesn't buy it. She's a lifelong Republican who worked in former Governor Jan Brewer's administration from 2011 to 2014. She argues character matters and believes the trial in Manhattan was not a show trial, but rather a showing of justice.
So this is a jury of his peers in New York, and to have a jury in New York agree on 34 agree on all accounts, right? That tells you something. That's not bogus, one-sided, lopsided. That is due process.
Gao believes Republicans supporting President Biden this campaign season aren't very vocal, but she thinks their votes will speak volumes.
We're not going to talk to pollsters. I think there are a lot of people like me that are just going to quietly vote our conscience and not make a big deal about it publicly.
This presidential contest now heads into the summer, where, like the weather, it will heat up. We are just 3 weeks away from that Biden-Trump debate in Atlanta. In Phoenix, I'm Eric Fink, News 4 Tucson.